morning. Welcome to the regular council meeting for the city of Freeport, November 18th, 2025. Stand for invocation and pledge.
Father, we thank you for the day that you've given us. We thank you, God, for your many blessings. I pray, Lord, that you'll just watch over us, lead us, guide us, and direct us, and we'll give you the honor and praise for this we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We begin today's meeting with the consent agenda. Under tab 1 are the bills for the city of Freeport. And under tab 2 is the regular council meeting minutes for October 23rd, 2025. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask for the council for approval.
Motion to approve.
Let's second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hirsch,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris,
Aye.
and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Are there any additions or deletions to today's agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I have one addition on community center fee waiver.
Any other? I'll ask for approval with addition to today's agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris,
Aye.
and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under staff report, we start with city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good morning. I'm going to move number 2 up because I see she's here. Katie with the Walton County Library is here. I'm sure she's busy, so we'll let you go.
All right, perfect. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me
Good
today.
morning.
Just wanted to come and get direction from you on how you would like to handle your vacant library advisory board position. That seat, your current volunteer in that role, her term expires on December 31st of this year. She has served 2 consecutive terms, and by bylaws as termed out. So we'll need to sit out for at least a year. So I really just wanted direction. How we've handled that before is either the city has appointed someone or the county has put out for applications and the Board of County Commissioners has approved someone. So we've handled it different ways in different cities. So it's really up to you how you'd like to handle that appointment.
Councilwoman Hafner.
Thank you. Is there a way if you put applications out that we can review them and appoint somebody, or only the commissioners can do that?
I'm not entirely sure on that. I would have to get clarification. My issue and concern with that is that I'm wanting to approve those appointees at the December 18th Board of County Commission meeting, because we do have a meeting the second week in January. So we have exactly a month. So typically they put those out for 2 to 3 weeks, and then they come back, and then they would go on a board agenda for approval.
I just think I would like us to have some input in who goes on the board personally, so maybe we should just put it out then.
Sure.
Within the city.
You can, or you can appoint someone from this own council. If UNIAC has done that before as well. At your discretion.
Councilman Dickey.
She addressed the point. Yes.
Okay.
So then can we put it out though on our city website, or go out
Yes.
for applicants?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't have anybody else, and I can't serve on another board, me personally, I'm already on the TDC, so I don't have the bandwidth to do it.
So what date would you like their approval or their process? Because after today, we don't have another meeting for a month.
Yep, let me see, the county administration would like to have those on the agenda for the December 18th meeting for the Board of County Commission. Our agenda deadline for that is
The Thursday.
the Thursday
But we
before.
won't be able to meet that, right? Or
You
we-
will on
we'll have-
Thursday.
We'll have a meeting on Tuesday.
When is our next meeting?
The ninth.
The ninth, correct.
So you have plenty of time before the 18th.
Okay.
Yes.
As long as, if I can get that information from you all by the 11th.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You have a 2-week advertising window.
All right, great. Well, let's do that.
Okay, all right, so Mr. Martin, I will reach back out to you before that date after your meeting on the 9th, and we'll go from there. So happy to answer any questions that you have in the meantime about that role. They do meet 4 times a year quarterly on the second Tuesday of the month in January, April, July, and October at 4 p.m. at the Walton Defuniak Library. So I do ask that you ensure that that person and appointee is able to meet that timing. And we've had issues in the past where they say, "Oh, no, can't ever be there." And that is unfortunately not helpful. So I just do ask that you confirm that whoever you choose will be available at those dates and times.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you all so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank
You
you.
too.
All right, council, we'll go back up to the top of the list here. Looking for a motion to approve us to pay our membership fees to the Florida League of Cities, which is under tab 3. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, 1723.
I'll make that motion to approve the 1723 Florida League of Cities.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Is there any public comment? Councilwoman Hackman.
Aye.
Councilwoman First.
Aye.
Councilman Farris.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, council. My next item is discussion on ARPA funds. So this is related to our 331 South sewer expansion project. And so the way that worked was we got essentially the ability from the Walton County to use some of their ARPA funds, a total of $6 million. The project is very close to being done. We've gotten all the reimbursements. So as the contractor has given us bills, we have sent them to Walton County and got reimbursed for them. We're at approximately $4.5 million when it's all said and done. It'll be less than $5 million for sure, I'm told. So our choices are, which is under tab 5, Dewberry and Alex did come up with some different projects where we can put a main line down in different areas. But my recommendation is we just tell the county, hey, you keep your ARPA funds after we submit the last pay request, and they should be happy, we'll be happy. We won't have to take a risk of getting bogged down in any other projects, and it'll be a complete success, I think, but it's up to y'all. So I would be looking for a motion to inform the county after we've submitted our last pay request to them that they are able to do whatever they want with their ARPA funds. We would not submit any more pay requests. I guess that's plain enough. That work for you, Clay?
To let the council offer their guidance. I think there's a better way to phrase that if that's what the council wants to do, but I'll let the council discuss the options you presented to them in terms of whether you want to ask for additional revenue.
Councilman Farris.
I agree to just give money back to them.
We're not technically giving
Well,
them
we're
back
not
to
giving
them,
it
it's
back.
not drawing anymore.
Yeah, we're not drawing anymore. That'd be
Why is that? I'm so confused, I'm sorry.
Essentially, so the county had $6 million in ARPA funds, and they said, okay, City of Freeport, when you're doing your 331 sewer project, we'll let you use some of this ARPA funds, because these ARPA funds have to be spent by a certain time period.
Right.
I think it's August.
12/31 of 2026.
Yeah, okay, so the end of next year.
Mhm.
So we used $4.5 million of their money to
Right.
get our project done.
Okay.
Project is done now. So there's still approximately $1.5 million sitting up there. We can either pick another project and spend $1.5 million, or we can let them keep their money and,
Why would we not spend the money then?
well, because it puts us in a project, we could potentially go sideways and it could go over $1.5 million. And we've got projects coming in for Wazoo, to be quite honest.
Councilwoman First.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just make sure I understand. We were given approval to use these funds for that specific project. So if we wanted to take on another project, that would have to go before the commission, correct, Clay? We would have to get approval. So we would have to take on the role of presentation to the commission and then go forward. It's not just that we have discretion how to use the additional funds.
Correct, it would be
Okay.
an amendment to the existing interlocal agreement.
Correct, and if not, then they have the discretion to use those funds as they so choose.
Right.
Perhaps, but that's not an automatic.
Not an automatic, okay.
Now, we can talk about that and what the council wants to do.
I mean, million and change for a sewer project is not much. And
Well, 3 of these projects are under that amount, so you can say that, but 3 of the 4 you give us are under $1.5 million, so.
everything's always under when we start.
I have a
I
question.
don't know.
If we present one of these as a potential and it's rejected, can we then move forward with being completed with what we did? And if the
So what I would say is,
project
I think you need to be cognizant of the position you may put the county in. So the county had $1.6 million of ARPA funds that gave some to the city of Peniac, some to the city of Freeport, spent some of their own. We spent all our own money, so I want to be very clear, this is city ARPA dollars already spent, they're gone, has nothing to do with it. This is the county's money that we have to an interlocal agreement. The county, I don't know this for a fact, but they had to do it under federal law, so I'm assuming they actually properly did this through finance, had to submit a report on an annual and quarterly basis of what they're doing with ARPA money. And that they had to obligate by the 31st, which was originally April of 2024. It definitely was in 12/31/2024. They had to obligate all of the SLRF funds, which this would be part of. Part of that obligation that I am confident they have sent to the federal government is this obligation of $6 million to the city of Freeport for this project. If we provide them notice that we have no use and we've terminated this project, I don't know what that does to them in terms of a terminated ARPA obligation. It may mean they got to just take that $1 million and hand it back to the federal government. So what I would say is, perhaps the better way to present this is, guys, we came in under budget. It's an amazing thing. None of us ever expected, but it happened. And if you have a use for the money, and you're not just going to have to give it back to the federal government, great. And let county finance direct that to the board of county commissioners, just as you would go over to Bruce or Sarah before and say, what can we do with our money? Let them give them that advice. But present, my recommendation would be to say, but we do have other projects that are substantially related to the same initiative you originally funded that we could apply that money to. It's not going to fully fund it, and the city's going to have to figure out how to pay the rest, but we have that opportunity. I can tell you, everybody I deal with on ARPA money said the same thing. Spend it. Because you're never getting, it's not like the federal government said, thank you for the $1 million, we'll find a way to help you out later. Nobody's gonna ever give it back. So I don't see it as a problem to have Mark go make a presentation to the Board of County Commissioners in which it indicates this is our final number. We're ready to close that project out. It's under budget. So what would the county prefer us to do? The county prefer us to return the money, and you figure out whether you can use it or whether it goes back to the federal government, or I presented you 3 options that are similar projects that we would be glad to take $1 million and put it towards, we know we have to spend it by 12/31/2026. And let them tell you, worst case, they say, no, you know what, we don't want you to have it, we'll figure out our own, and then if they lose the money in the federal government, it's not because you terminated an obligation that hangs it around their neck. That's my thought. That gives them the choice of what they want to do. It lets them know what we would use it for if they let us.
I think that's a good decision. That indicates that we have a desire and a need for the funds and would love to use those on our behalf and let them tell us whether that's something that they're, that they approve or not.
And I can say, Mr. Martin, I know is talking Ms. Thompson, the county finance director, I've spoken to her too. I believe her recommendation, unless I'm wrong, Mark, was for you to come and tell the county commission what else you wanted to use the money for and let them make that decision. I don't believe there was a direct contemplation of the city just terminating and letting the county keep the money in her conversation.
Well, when I spoke to her, it was all about these 3 projects. We stopped spending the money, didn't come up in our conversation, but after looking at the projects and weighing it all out, like I said, my recommendation is to let them keep their own money, and especially when you listen to their meetings, they're always looking for money to do stuff with.
But this money's gonna have restrictions, it's not like they're just gonna add it to their budget.
That's right. It is highly restricted, and it had to only be obligated. That's the one thing I want to be very clear about, because we're having this conversation at length, both with city and county ARPA dollars and the Puniac about the airport, about the nature of the specific obligation to comply with Treasury rules. The Treasury's interim rule to their final guidance changed, I won't say substantially, but the devil's in the details, and with Treasury guidance, there were a lot of details that changed between interim rule and final rule, obligation and expenditure. And we're still trying to figure out what expenditure means,
Mr. Mayor,
beyond just spending the money.
another thing that may influence the county commission's decision regarding this money, if you look at the areas that are proposed for projects, they're all in the county.
Correct.
They are within our sewer work franchise area, but they're in areas that would benefit county citizens.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, this is a main going into these places. So ever how many homes are in those areas, those people are still gonna have to cough up capacity fee money or whatever to hook onto the system. It's not gonna do, I think it has the potential to, hey, there's a sewer line out here, yeah, you can tap onto it, but it's gonna cost you $13,000 or whatever.
Or it may be an additional SRF project, or we can come up with a project that SRF approves, that revolving fund project, that would be very similar to Black Creek, where the monies that we got included were to pay for those fees, but that will be a combination of sources for funding.
Okay, so what do we need to do? Make a motion for Mark to present or engineering or what?
Hey, it's make a motion directing staff to present as described what you want presented.
Okay, so moved.
Well, so what do you all want presented? What we talked about here, that you want to, what I suggested, what Mark suggested?
Let them make
Do you want the
between the
details on
three.
this project? Because Alex did all this.
No, this is good enough for me. I'm okay. I'm fine with the commissioners picking between the projects we have listed.
Or so, or, you know, I may come back and say, we don't care, you choose the project, we're
Okay,
giving you
Just
money
get
for
some
it.
guidance,
Let's
I
get some
think
guidance.
it's that initial.
Yeah, do you want the money back? And if you do want the money back, just make sure you can use it. If you can't, we'll gladly take it, and here are 3 options you can spend it.
Okay.
Let's don't make a decision on the option.
Right.
Then, let's just ask for
That's what I'm
guidance.
saying.
and ask for-
Yeah, that way they don't tie our hands and we find out one of these projects is a
Because
$20
they may
million
just say,
project by
Right.
accident.
And then they say, oh,
Okay, so there's a motion then to have staff, direct staff to connect with the commissioners on next steps with the ARPA money? Is that good enough?
I think that works, yes.
Okay,
I'll
there's my
second
motion.
And I have a motion, we ready
Hold
to
on, there's a
second
motion
it.
and a second.
Now we're ready for discussion. Alex? could you-
Yeah, I'll just add a couple other things too. So it's similar funding as well for the McDaniels Fish Camp project. So although you do have until December of 2026, technically, all the reimbursements, pay requests, everything has to be closed out by the end of September. So they have enough time to review it, process it, and approve it. So potentially, maybe even October. But that's what they had been telling us for a time frame. And then I would just suggest, just because of that time frame, so the LaGrange project and that low pressure sewer extension to the west of McDaniels, those are the two, to me, that would be the best fit. And I don't know if the council would want to maybe even prioritize or rank. If the county does come back and say, hey, we want the
Then we'll
safety
have that
side,
discussion, like I
Okay.
said, we're not gonna.
I'm
do that
just
till they come
looking
back.
at it in terms of a timing thing. You'd want to get this going as quick as possible. So I'd hate to push it off 6 weeks because we're trying to coordinate different meeting dates and to get approvals and whatnot. But yeah, just some recommendations.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch?
Aye.
Councilman Parrish?
Aye.
Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item I have, which is a past tense thing, is just your approval. We have already made a check to, or for the Heroes for Heroes sponsorship. The event's already happened, y'all are all aware of it, so I just need a motion to approve the check that's already been cut.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch?
Aye.
Councilman Parrish?
Aye.
Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'm gonna go ahead and do my add-on before I do the number 5. So the add-on is the community center fees and the fee waiver. I would ask approval and a motion to approve the mayor and I being able to, because we just passed the whole, any charitable organization comes to us once a year. So between now and next June, if it comes up where somebody wants to use the community center, either let the mayor approve it, let me approve it, let both of us approve it, some situation where we can do that, unless you want me to bring them all to y'all.
Like for meetings,
Yeah.
not parties.
Right, y'all do that. I agree.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, let me give you an example.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because we approve every special permit from parks, so that you're saying not to do it for here.
I'm asking what he wants to do between now and next June for sure, because we already have a situation which the mayor can tell you about.
Freeport Merchants Association has a meeting, that you're all invited to, by the way, at 8 o'clock out there. The lieutenant governor for the state is going to be the guest speaker. And so they have about 100 people coming. So we have it set up now for 100 people to be there. And we didn't think, after the discussion the other night, that we should charge them a fee, since it's the lieutenant governor coming to be the guest speaker. That was the example.
But do they need to?
They're a 501c3 though. It's a
They are a nonprofit, right?
Right. They are.
So they meet that requirement.
Yes.
I'm fine with just asking, in situations like that, can we just make a decision rather than having to have a special meeting or a council meeting to go over it, as long as it's just that?
Can it come back on a later meeting just to be ratified then by us? Or y'all want to make decisions for everybody that comes
What do we
in?
want?
I'm asking.
Well, we just need to be consistent. If we're gonna approve everything for Parks and 501c3, we need to do, it's gonna have to be the same. I think you
I'm
can't,
good with that.
I think you can't, you need to do both entities the same way. So either we stop looking at all of them or we look at all of them. Okay.
So do you want to go ahead and approve this one, or can we do that place since it wasn't on the agenda?
I don't think we can approve one that's not on the agenda, but I do understand the council's point of what they're.
Well, I just think it has to be consistent across the board. I don't have a problem with them doing it, then like, to me, we need to stop having to bring everybody else up here that comes. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I do.
And I don't have a problem when an emergency situation comes up and they can't make a meeting like this situation. I don't have a problem with them making a decision and just putting it back on for us to ratify, just like they did this check.
Right.
I don't have an issue with that either.
I think that is consistent with how they discharge the manager and the mayor's authority to work as the executive branch of the city government.
So they can go ahead and give them that authority and then bring it on our next meeting for us to ratify,
Correct.
right? Okay, I'm fine with that.
Correct, and then, I mean, obviously, the first time you don't ratify something, we're gonna take that up as an issue.
Right.
We're probably not gonna go get the money back from people who don't ratify, I will say that.
Well, I don't think they would do so, they would approve. I mean, I think, I trust their ability. I think
You're gonna use good judgment.
You're gonna use good judgment, so that's fine. Okay.
Thank you for trusting
You're welcome.
us. So we have a motion.
So what do we need to make a motion for that?
Make a motion to approve the specific waiver requested, if that's what you wish to do, and to direct the mayor and city manager to bring back any future fee waivers for nonprofits in similar situations for ratification if there's not time to present to the council in advance.
I had already made a motion similar, so I'm gonna mimic your
You can amend
presentation of
to
it,
that.
and then my motion to include that verbiage.
What I wouldn't, well, let me see what I don't think the council, I think, while I trust Mark and the mayor not to just do, like you said, not do something just absolutely way out there. If there's ample time to bring something before the council, it might as well. If somebody's asking in October for something in January, go ahead and get it on council.
Correct.
But if there are tight times in terms of timelines, let them make that decision.
That's fine.
And I will also say this for Mark and the mayor's benefit. We deal with facility rentals like Stop Road and Sitzer and Peniac all the time. Most of the time, now while the ordinance there does just provide the city manager that authority for certain classes of entities to be able to be exempted without ever going before the council, because the council wants to get out of that business. On certain type of special event permits that require certain issues, the council does approve. The manager and the mayor's position up there for a long time has been, if you want this to be approved, don't give the council 3 days notice. You know, you need to give more time. And so what's going to happen over time is we have this beautiful new community center, people want to use it, is when they come in, they ask Mark, will you approve it? And Mark, consider and look at this, and he and the mayor talk about it. It's like, well, you're asking to use it 3 days before, and you want us to approve a fee waiver, and then give the council for ratification. That happens 20 times in a row. It's clear people are running the game, and they're going to stop doing it.
Right.
Because it's their discretion. You're not telling them to do it. You're giving them the discretion to waive those fees and present it for ratification when the timeline is tight. And so I think that is protective of the city as a whole, which is where I can come to it. And it's a proper exercise of legislative versus executive authority.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a
I'll second it.
Can you second it?
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris,
Aye.
and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Last item, Grit and Grace. Oh, you what's this?
Good morning.
Wonderful.
I am not here as your planning director right now. I'm standing before you as the president of Grit and Grace, the official folklife production of Walton County. Since the year 2000, we have put plays on every year, unique stories about the people, places, and things in Walton County. That is our mission. We were designated official folklife production of Walton County early on in that because all the stories are original. The plays that we put on are original, and it's about people that we know, events that we know happened, or specific things regarding places like Freeport. And I included in my overview of what we do, Freeport stories that we've done recently. We told the mayor's story 3 years ago. We did a story about Mayor Barley. We've done stories about Tony Anderson, Roy Brown, Pearlie Brown, and her husband, Marion. The Schuster brothers we did this past year. And the beginnings, auspicious, or whatever your viewpoint is, of how the Frank's Cash and Carry began. Very, very interesting story, heartwarming story. Also last year, we did a story about the Civil War, Andersonville Prison, where 3 officers were managed to escape that prison, make their way to the Choctawhatchee River, and then came down to Freeport and were given directions by folks in Freeport. This is documented. They were able to lead them to their Union ship, and they were eventually able to get back to Philadelphia and lead productive lives. This year, we've already conducted interviews, some of the interviews, but we'll do more interviews, and we're going to tell the story of Mr. Ronnie Brandenstein that we all know and loved and respected. And we're talking to his family and his close friends to present the story of his life and what he's meant to Freeport. Some of you are aware that the original home of Grit and Grace was in the city of Freeport, at what is now the Heritage Church. But at that time, it was known as Ark of Damascus, and we put on a show that was incredible there. And Freeport was always intended to be the official home of Grit and Grace. Things being what they were, we went through a recession and a couple other things. Some opportunities to build a theater did not come to fruition. There was downturns in the economy, various things. Anyway, we really want to bring our production back to Freeport. I will say very selfishly that I'm a resident of Freeport, and I have worked with this organization for many, many years. Sometimes just as a cast member, sometimes as a musician, sometimes as a technical person, but I have been the president of Grit and Grace since before COVID. And apparently I signed some blood oath that I wouldn't leave. I'm not really sure what happened there, but it's very important to me that we go back to our roots and establish our home here. And we would like to be able to do so in the new community center that is set up with a stage. And that we bring the main focus of Grit and Grace and the main production of Grit and Grace back to Freeport. It's a gorgeous new facility, as we all saw last Friday evening. It's absolutely perfect for putting on a production of this kind. We are a 501c3, and I've attached the schedule of our auditions and rehearsals and actual show dates. We understand that liability insurance is needed. We are currently shopping for that particular insurance, which we will provide to the city clerk and the county city administrator. We would like to waive the rental fees as a 501c3. However, we would like to pay the cleaning fees because places need to be clean, and this is for an extended amount of time. So we would want to make sure that we pay all those as needed. I also have with me is my fellow board member, Karen McGee, who lives here in the city of Freeport with me and has been on our board for some time. One thing that was brought to my attention, we may need to work around an election if we have an election in July, and we are perfectly fine and happy to do so and work around an election. We can literally do rehearsals in this space if we need to, so that the election can take place in that building if that's what the council decides to do. Anyway, that's our proposal. That's what we're asking to do. Our shows are very high quality. Some of you have been to some of our shows, and you know that we put our hearts and souls into preserving this history, into making sure that what we do honors the history of the past. It's a family production. It's something that you can bring your children to, your grandmother to, and you're all going to find something to remind you of times past, something to heartwarming to remember about relationships and memories of how things used to be. And we do try to honor that. We're asking for approval to be able to bring Grit and Grace back to Freeport.
Matilda, off the top of your head, do you know how many dates roughly it would be that we would be
Well, we do auditions once on Saturdays between February, between March and April. There would be 4 dates. And then the rehearsals would be in the evenings, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in May and in June. And then we start the dress rehearsals in July. And really in July, that's when we all come in and we start putting the props together, which are minimal props, doing the costume changes, and actually setting up for a dignitary premiere that is planned for July the 9th. The show would run through July 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And then we would tear down that afternoon after the 12th was going to be done. And then we're going to do one show in South Walton. It's in the church. We do an encore show for them, so people who literally cannot make it, we offer that opportunity. And then do 2 shows in Union Springs at the Chautauqua Theater. But the Freeport show would be the main event.
What is the date of the election?
The election is the second Tuesday in July, so it'll be that dress rehearsal the 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And literally we'll work around that.
And again, so far in the future, we may not even have an election, it just depends on how that works out too, so.
Are you sure it's not July 14th? Because July 1st isn't till Wednesday. Are you sure it's, I thought it was the 14th.
It may
That was
be.
always the second Tuesday.
Yes, because the first Tuesday is the 7th.
Okay, so then it is.
So we're gonna be out of there before the election.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, even if they come in, I don't know how soon the supervisor group comes in, but,
They come in the day before.
We'll be
First
out
thing in
there.
March.
so then you'll be gone
We'll
then.
be gone. Everything will be back to normal.
And we already, it's already been approved to move the election over to there?
I'm still waiting to hear the final word from Ryan, but as far as I know, yes. Because of security reasons, he was good with it, so I'm just waiting to hear the final.
Okay, we need some kind of a motion.
I have one other question. Y'all have accommodations where we can use this area, if there is some sort of conflict? The only thing that I would like to see is just us to maybe be agreeable if some event were to come up and it's a one-night event and that is the date, and if it was like a rehearsal or something.
If there's
we kind of
something,
work
we
with
are happy to
someone.
accommodate.
lot
And
of-
we had to do that
I
before.
would like to kind of leave that a little bit flexible for,
Sure.
I would hate to discourage
Except for
someone.
the actual show dates themselves and the dress rehearsals. If something needed to come in for one night and do something, I'll just move their rehearsal over here. Not a big deal. I can work through that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the only thing, Joe, that I was concerned about, that's a lot of days.
It's like almost 40 days, so I'm just like, oof.
But if there's
A lot.
some kind of event that needs to come up, if y'all can let me know, I will just be very flexible and move it over here. I can do that. Glad to work with the city however we need to.
And were y'all looking to pay the cleaning fee for every single day, or was it gonna be like weekly, because you have some 3 days a week, or how are you going to do that?
Well, I think we probably want to figure out what the cleaning fee would be. Talking to Mark and Rebecca, and what they consider that to be, and we would pay by the month.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't we approve a cleaning fee?
We did,
I just didn't know.
No, we absolutely want to take
Or
cleaning
then
fee.
if somebody, they're 3 days a week, so I was just
Yeah.
asking, was she like combining the week, or it's every day, because that's gonna add up, so that's why I was just.
and I'm sure y'all anticipate cleaning.
We will,
in
and it's
between those
not,
times.
hopefully not going to be overly burdensome on the very, very sweet person that's doing this, you know.
I'll make a motion for Great Race to be able to use the facility, and they will pay the cleaning fee as needed.
Is there a second?
Can we add in about working around if somebody wants to use?
And we absolutely, if there's something that comes up that we need to adjust, we will absolutely work with you guys.
Who like that?
I've lost the second now.
Okay, a motion been made and seconded. It. Further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hacker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris,
Aye.
and Councilman Dickens.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Engineer?
Good morning, Council. Good morning. I'm happy to give you some updates on the status of the Bulldog Road wastewater plant. I had sent a memo to y'all, so I'll go over the major points of it, and then if you have any questions along the way, just stop and ask me, please. But where we're at with the current status, again, this is the plant that will be going up on Bulldog Road between 331 and Business District 1. We're right now around 90% of the design. Should be having the design completed by February, ready to bid out. We're anticipating that it's a few months in May, and then it'll be about a 2-year construction cycle is what we're anticipating. So the plant will be completely done by May of 28. Again, is what we're looking at, just because of the time that it takes for this type of construction. We put all of our permits in. Actually, since we wrote this memo, we got our potable water permit back approved for DEP. So the only permit that is lacking from the state is the facility permit itself, which we've submitted everything that we have. We're just waiting for the state to either ask us some more questions or to provide an approval at this point. And then we'll still submit the development order to the city, which we have not done yet, but we've got the paperwork ready to go, and we'll be submitting that very soon. And then just as a sort of some of the items that we'll also need on this is you'll still have to, once this goes to construction, so our task, our contract with the city goes through the bidding phase. The contract was not for the construction engineering and inspection services. I don't know if that was part of the original procurement advertisement. I'm not sure if that might be advertised for. But again, just to let you know, these are some things that you'll want to be watching for in the coming months to be able to have construction engineering and inspection services. Also, there's a couple of ancillary projects that are necessary as well for this wastewater plant. One is that the system needs to be rerouted to be able to accept wastewater flow at the facility. Right now, the scope of the design was just to design the facility. So there'll need to be some planning, some design, surveying, all of that will have to be done to be able to figure out what sections of the city will need to be rerouted to come to this plant. Again, you have a little bit of time on that because, like I said, it'll be about 2 years before the plant is designed. This probably construction on a reroute would take probably 18 months, and alongside realistically closer to a year. So you've got a little bit of time window inside of that to make some of those decisions. But with the plan and everything we have to do after that, it will take just a little bit longer on the front side of it. And then also, as we discussed at our last meeting in August, was the additional effluent reuse capacity. Right now, we're looking at, you've got, originally the plant, when it was procured, was supposed to be a 500,000 gallon a day plant, going to 1.5 million gallons a day. And then due to the growth in the city, it was requested that we design that for 1 million, going to 3. And so that site, we initially looked at it, it was only around 800,000 gallons a day. The addition to the paperwork discovered that we could probably get 1 million gallons a day out of that site, but that will take care of the capacity once we do the first phase. So when we put the second, when we do the second and third 1 million gallon a day extensions, then you're going to have somewhere else to send your effluent. And again, we discussed that in August. Ms. Neal had discussed that they're looking at some different sites. Again, that's just, it's important because if you design the plant, even if you have the treatment capacity there, you're going to be flow limited at the plant because you're limited to the amount of effluent that you can reuse or dispose of. So again, just some things on the horizon. Just want to make sure that y'all are thinking about that, looking at that, understanding those are the next steps. So some good news is the state revolving fund. So we submitted everything on that. Got everything back. The listing meeting was last Wednesday, and we found that we were listed on what's called the wait list. So that sounds sort of negative, it's actually good. So although the funding isn't available today, what it does is you're basically like a second tier classification. So the state will fund the top tier through this year's funding. When additional funding becomes available, the projects that are in the second tier and what's considered this wait list, they move to the top tier of funding. So they will get first dibs at any funding that comes available. It's highly unlikely that any funding comes available between now and next August. That's when the state revolving fund is filled back up. Their funding is renewed. But should some event happen that the federal government through EPA says, hey, we're going to give more money to the states, it could expedite the funding agreement. What that means is that it's very likely, after having conversations with the people that are over the program for the state, is that come next August, that you will start to receive, you will go to that tier 1 and be listed. The state revolving fund has this thing called a segment cap, so you could put in for a massive project, but they're only going to, so they can sort of share the love around, they're only going to fund a certain portion of those projects each year, and then each subsequent year they'll inject more funding into it. So what you would have to do is you have to get some sort of interim financing, which I'm not a finance guy, we've got some great finance people. So I would encourage you that now that you know that you're on this wait list and you see this coming, that you go ahead and re-engage with them and just see what sort of options are out there, lines of credit, anything like that, to determine what the best way is for the city to move forward on this project. And then again, discussing it with the state revolving fund, because you're now on their official list, any approved funds that you expend from basically last Wednesday moving forward are now considered reimbursable once money is available. So there's your caveat to it. So anyways, those are good things. That does allow things to move forward. That's the information on the state revolving fund. And then finally, as requested at the last meeting that we were here at to discuss this project, which was in August, the board or the council requested that we provide a proposed amendment to the contract to go ahead and expedite the second phase of this project. So we've provided you with an amendment to review for that. What that would allow us to do is we would be able to design the second phase of the project parallel to the construction of the first phase, so that once all of that is wrapping up, we'd actually be ahead of that. But anyways, we would be ready to go ahead and move forward, and that would allow everything to just keep rolling out there at the site. There wouldn't be any sort of significant downtime. We've also, the council has requested that we talk to the vendors that are anticipated to be working on this project. We had several conversations with them, and there are some ways that we found that we could expedite the second phase based off of some of the things that we do in the first phase. So we anticipate utilizing those measures so that things can continue to move forward, so that you're able to stay ahead of your growth. So the action item that I need to know today is if the council wants us to move forward with the second phase design as presented in the proposed amendment, or how you would like us to, or what you would like us to do.
I'd like us to go ahead and start that second phase that we talked about to get ahead of the game. So what do we need to do, Clay?
Motion to approve the contract amendment with the design and man-hour estimate for the Bulldog Road wastewater treatment facility expansion.
So moved.
Second.
That was the first motion.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Haffner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
And Councilman Nichols.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
So I guess the second question comes, you asked about interim financing options. In terms of, what does that do to us in terms of, I know we're waiting all the way now to next August for SRF. What does that do to us if we're looking for additional funding sources in the interim or otherwise?
Could you restate that question? You mean, does that impair your ability to get additional funds?
That'd be one part of the question.
Okay, so what I would do is I would also discuss this with your lobbyist, to let them know that you're listed on this wait list, to see if there's any sort of funds that could come through the state to be leveraged towards this. As far as any sort of private side of financing, again, I'm an engineer, I'm not an expert on this, but what I do know about from having conversations with Ryan Smith at Riper is that you'd be looking for, he had mentioned lines of credit, which the way this loan agreement should be written, the way that it's our understanding, again, this would be something that we dig into, is to be able to go get this private financing, and then you would be able to, once the funds become available from the state, you would be able to then basically just take the, move the debt service over to the low interest loan from the state.
All right.
What's likely, again, speaking of the segment cap, regardless of whether you got listed now or for the funding or if it's next year, the segment cap has been, the low end has been around the $10 million-ish range. You requested $50 million, that's what you were listed for. So at that, it would take 5 years for you to have all of the debt service on to the state's low interest loan. So you're going to have some sort of privatized loan through that process, regardless, to be able to make that work. And again, talking to Ryan, the way that the rate adjustment that you voted on a couple of months ago, the way it was set up, actually the more aggressive rate adjustment was to be able to cover the debt service on an SRF loan because it's for a term of 20 years. It's just like if you're buying a car or a house would be the easier one, and you're looking at a 15-year and 30-year mortgage. A lot of times what you're paying each month on a 15-year mortgage is more, but you pay that off in 15 years and you end up paying less interest over the course of the loan. So that's how he set up the rates to be able to make sure that you were able to cover the 20-year low interest loan from SRF, and it actually puts you ahead rather than looking at a longer term loan in the private market. So,
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, we do have reserves. I don't think we have to make that decision today, guys. I mean, I wanted him to explain what he did for you there. I want him to explain that because there's no guarantee how much money from SRF really gets funded next August.
That's true.
I mean, I think we're all expecting some of this is gonna have to come from another pot of money. I don't think there's any realistic view that all of this comes from SRF. The question is, what if the money from SRF comes in and it is fraction? It's $2-3 million. And they want to do it over a series of years. Well, if you take this and you get $3 million next year as well. They've done that before on very large projects. I think we need to let Bruce and our finance team and bond council get through our current closing that we hope is imminent now that the federal government's reopened. But council, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, and I've had several conversations with Jeremy, several conversations with Jolinda. At some point, we're probably going to need to go ahead and make that determination if we are going to the capital markets, what that looks like, when we need to make that decision. Certainly, it's well in advance because we don't have design plans. We're not even at a point where we can bid it. So there's going to be those kind of issues. But one of the comments that Mr. Nyfeld made to me that I want him to come back and talk to you about, though, after our last meeting and in discussion of what happens if as has happened on several federal programs, when the government reopens, they restart the process for everybody. You know, we gotta reapply, sorry, you're no longer in the hopper, and now we'd be 12 months removed. We couldn't afford that with the $4 million more road. We could write a check, we know we could, as a city. But one of the things that Mr. Nyfeld suggested was, it may well be time for the city to look at its overall next year through the next 5-year water and sewer improvement schedule, try to get an idea of what it would take, and looking at that as a total debt service issuance, and understand, okay, well, we can only put this much towards the treatment plant because we don't know how much it costs, that's fine, but we'll have this much for lines in the ground. We'll have this much if we need package plant options, and really basically create a debt facility that is nimble enough to allow the council to either draw lines of credit or to otherwise engage in that. They're seeing a lot of swap rates engaged with banks right now, which is not as common as what once was for local governments, especially bank qualified financing. That was basically a dirty word with bank qualified financing to do swap rates years ago. Now they're actually allowing it. And it's allowed a lot of local governments to explore those initial tranches of 10 million and refunding it, and then some stretching it to 20. So we just need to be mindful of that, and I think we're at a point that he's right. The wait list is huge. We know, we can't say 100%, but we pretty well know we're gonna get something from SRF.
At some point.
Yeah, at some point, and probably within the next 18 months. I just don't know that we have an 18-month lead time, that's what council's asking for everybody.
And I'll make one comment on this too, as far as, so this would be drawdown for construction, so if you consider the time frame of advertising for bid in February, possibly having bids in May, by the time the contractor gets their notice to proceed and actually begins to do work, you're possibly June or July before you have your first draw, and then possibly money comes available in August. So there may not be for 26, there may not be a huge, again, I would consult.
If we're bidding in February, what he said is exactly right. I would hope that's where we are. You know, if we can bid into January, February, the time frame starts to work out very well. But because that time frame can be so tight, and this is to your point, what you're saying there, we also can't be all the way down that time frame counting on a large chunk of money for SRF and have no other funding available. And again, we're sitting pretty with reserves. But I'll let Bruce speak to this if he feels differently, but I can't tell you that from Jeremy's position, the position was spend that money. It was take advantage of some of your capital market options right now, even if that's pledged as collateral, even if we have to move that into a, you know, some form of certificate deposit or otherwise secured account with them to buy down the rate. It is better for us to leverage that right now than to spend that money into where the capital market otherwise is. Now, 2 years ago, they probably told us to spend money. But now, so just know we're probably going to be getting ahead of that discussion as soon as we get this RD loan closed, because we're going to have to take some of this money from somewhere else.
Right, I've had some discussions with Ryan, who did the rate analysis, and he's prepared to engage with us. I was going to plan to bring to you next council meeting his proposal, so we can establish the rates and engage him with the review of this very thing.
And I knew that was coming. I didn't want to step on Bruce's toes. I'm glad he went in and told us that. But I wanted the council to be aware, this is putting us on, this is a domino that we are now, we've been running, but now it accelerates knowing where it is. I don't think anybody thought we were going to get it this year, but the fact that we know that it could be coming next year, we have to plan as though we're going to be building. So with this approval, we'll go from there. No other action needed today. Thank you for that.
And again, I think with the lobbyists, this is a great opportunity to be able to talk with them, because it does show that your project meets state qualifications to be able to move forward. So, I mean, I really think that could be something to grow with.
And if I may add, in order to fund this, we did not put that 981 in the budget, so it also requests your approval to take that from the capacity until pending any other financing that we might be able to work out.
That's what you got, and that basically encumbers those funds, so we need to, that's why we gotta start looking at how to have other options to uncover those. That will be a audit issue one day, if we keep a long-term encumbrance on capacity fees, I promise you it'll be a problem like that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks?
Good morning, Council Mayor.
Good morning.
So I have a few budgeted items that needs approval. So we can start off with the first one. It's gonna be the pole barn. We budgeted for 10,000 for a pole barn, and we received a proposed offer for 7,200, 7,200.
I'll make a motion to approve for the 7,200.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded, any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner? Councilwoman Hurd?
Aye.
Councilman Farris?
Aye.
Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then second, it's just the approval for the event, Christmas parade and the route for December 6th.
I'll make a motion to approve the route for the Christmas parade.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded for the route for the Christmas parade. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hurst?
Aye.
Councilman Farris?
Aye.
Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then the third one is the purchase of a truck. We budgeted for 39,000. So the first one was a Triumph Chevrolet. That was at 43,391. Bill Kramer GM $41,367. And then Allen Turner Chevrolet is 38,105.
Are all of these trucks?
Yes.
Four-door trucks?
Is there trucks?
I know Alan Turner's the low bid, but more it's like Dillon and like Triangle being local.
Well, they'll probably have it serviced there, they will. They'll probably do all the service there, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's $5,000 higher. Probably more than his budget. I'm with you on that.
But
Yeah, I'll make a
Yeah,
motion to go
yeah.
ahead and go with Allen Turner for $38,105.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, to go with Allen Turner Chevrolet for $38,105. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurd?
Aye.
Councilman Farris?
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, so the fourth one is the purchase of a trailer. So we budgeted for $6,500 for a new trailer, and we received an offer for $55,650.
I make a motion to purchase a trailer for $5,650.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to know what size trailer that was.
It's gonna be a 20-foot trailer.
Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst?
Aye.
Councilman Farris?
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then the last one is the LED lights for the football and soccer field. So this will be the last phase for the sports complex with the LED lights for the baseball, softball fields, and the laps and football and soccer field. So we came in at, we budgeted for 280,000, and we received the offer for $272,131.
I'll make a motion to approve the 272,131.
I'll second
Is this the same company that did the other phases? Okay. I just wanted to- Thank you.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Is there any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst?
Aye.
Councilman Farris?
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Fred,
Yes, sir.
before you sit down, I want to say one quick thing. I want to thank Casey, April, and Rebecca for what they've done of getting stuff together for the math science night where we participated in the elementary school. Casey done an excellent job out there, and Rebecca, I appreciate you and April. Y'all stepped up and got the stuff that we could give out to the kids. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning?
Go ahead. If you'll turn to tab 14 of your agenda, this request is to approve the revised existing developers agreement for a corrected revised legal description in order to accommodate Marquis Way West Road right-of-way alignment. As part of a transfer of a phase of a project, Mr. Gill discovered that it didn't quite line up. So he submitted new legals and new site plans. They have been reviewed by Alday Howell, which is our design engineer for Marquis Way West, and he has verified that the new legals correspond exactly with where the alignment of the Marquis Way project is. The revised developer agreement just says that we're doing a revised description. We have the Alday Howell email confirmation of corrected legals with the 30% design plans. We're asking for approval for signatures on this revised developers agreement to accommodate the revised legal.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Is there any public comment? Councilwoman Hefner?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hirsch?
Aye.
Councilman Fair?
Aye.
Councilman Dick?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I'll get with Rebecca and those signatures.
Next, we have presentation for the Employee of the Month. The Employee of the Month is proudly presented to Mr. Reese Holly in recognition for your dedication, passion, and hard work supporting the residents of the city of Freeport on this 18th day of November 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Is there any public comment? I just want to remind everyone the Christmas parade is due December 6th, as well as the tree lighting. The festival of trees is the week prior to. So we look forward to the holiday season. Okay? No public comment, meetings adjourned.